Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're going back in time to World War II,
Okay.
but with a twist.
Hmm.
We're going to explore those kind of often overlooked stories
Yeah.
of the women who were absolutely essential
Right.
to the war effort.
Absolutely.
Get ready for some serious aha moments.
It's incredible
Right.
how much we think we know about World War II,
Yeah.
but then you really dig a little deeper and you
Ah.
realize there's this whole hidden layer
Yeah.
of history just waiting to be uncovered.
Totally.
The resilience,
Yeah.
the adaptability these women showed.
Incredible.
It's truly inspiring.
I know, and we all know that iconic image
Yeah,
of Rosie the Riveter
of course.
flexing that bicep.
Right.
But honestly, that's just the beginning
Oh, yeah.
of the story.
Totally.
Women weren't just working in factories.
No.
They were also running like entire agricultural operations to keep the food supply going.
Yeah, think about those land girls.
Oh, yeah.
The Women's Land Army. They
Yeah.
weren't just tending gardens.
Right.
They were out there plowing fields,
Wow.
planting crops, harvesting food,
Right, well,
while
yeah.
most of the men were away fighting.
Jeez.
It was back-breaking work.
Oh, I bet.
But they were the ones feeding both the troops
Wow.
and the civilians back home.
That's essential.
It was.
And I bet a lot of these women
Oh, yeah.
had never even held a plow before the war.
Right.
That must have been empowering.
It was a turning point for so many women.
Yeah.
They were gaining financial independence, learning new skills,
Yeah.
and proving to themselves and to the world that they were capable of so much more
Yeah.
than anyone had given them credit for.
It makes you wonder if that experience planted the seeds for like the later women's rights movement.
Yeah.
Like they had a taste of
Yeah.
independence
Right.
and
Yeah.
making a real difference. They weren't just going to go back to the way things were
Not at all.
before the war.
That's a great point.
Thanks.
And, their contributions weren't limited to the home front either.
Okay.
Where else? Let's talk about the nurses.
Okay.
These women were working right near the battlefields,
Really?
sometimes even under fire,
No way.
tending to the wounded day in and day out.
Wow.
Talk about courage
Yeah.
and compassion
Yeah.
under pressure.
That must have been absolutely harrowing. The sheer number of casualties,
Yeah.
the severity of the injuries.
Right.
It's hard to even fathom what those nurses went through.
It is.
And yet they were there on the front lines of suffering and healing.
Yeah. And it wasn't just nurses.
Okay.
Women were also operating radar systems, decoding messages,
Wow.
keeping vital communication lines open.
Okay.
They were essential
Wow.
to the smooth running of military operations.
So they were literally helping to win battles
They were-
from behind the scenes. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And speaking of behind the scenes,
Yeah.
let's talk about the women who were involved in espionage
Okay.
and code breaking.
Right.
That's where things get really fascinating.
It really is like something out of a spy novel.
I bet.
Think about Bletchley Park,
Okay.
where hundreds of women
Yeah.
were working tirelessly
Yeah.
to decipher German codes.
Wow.
Their work was top secret,
Right.
but it was absolutely crucial
Yeah.
to the Allied victories.
I bet most people have no idea
I doubt it.
about the role these women played
Yeah,
in shaping the course of the war.
absolutely.
They were using their intellect,
Oh,
their problem-solving skills
yeah,
to outsmart the enemy.
literally.
Wow.
And they were paving the way for modern computing
Really?
in the process.
Wow.
They were brilliant mathematicians,
Huh?
logicians,
Yeah.
puzzle solvers, years ahead of their time.
And then you have women like Joan Clark,
Oh, yeah.
a key figure.
She was
As breaking the Enigma code,
absolutely.
she was up against some of the most brilliant minds in Germany,
She was.
and she held her own.
She did.
It just goes to show that intellectual prowess knows no gender.
Absolutely. And let's not forget the women
Okay.
who risked their lives as spies
Yeah.
working undercover in enemy territory.
Wow.
Women like Virginia Hall,
Okay.
who operated in Nazi-occupied France,
Really?
gathering intelligence
Oh.
and coordinating resistance activities.
Wow.
She was known as the Limping Lady
Limping lady.
because of a prosthetic leg,
Wow.
but she was a force to be reckoned with.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
She was essentially working behind enemy lines, facing danger at every turn.
Absolutely.
Talk about bravery.
Yeah, her story
Yeah.
and so many others like it
Yeah.
were shrouded in secrecy for years.
Wow.
But as we learn more about these unsung heroines,
Uh-huh.
we begin to understand the true depth and breadth of women's contributions to the war effort.
It's a whole new perspective
It is.
on World War II.
Yeah.
It makes you realize that courage and patriotism come in many forms.
Exactly. These women challenged the very definition of
Yeah.
what it meant to be a soldier,
Right.
a contributor to the war effort.
Yeah.
They showed the world that strength and resilience had no gender.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's amazing to think
Yeah.
that all of this was happening at a time
Right.
when women were still fighting for basic rights.
Totally.
They were pushing boundaries
Uh-huh.
on the battlefield and on the home front,
Right.
challenging societal norms left and right.
It's like the war became this unexpected catalyst
It did.
for social change.
Yeah.
It forced everyone to reevaluate
Uh-huh.
what women were capable of.
Yeah.
And once those floodgates opened,
Right.
there was no going back.
Exactly. It wasn't just about filling in for the men
Right.
who were away.
Yeah.
These women were proving they could handle responsibilities. Yeah.
That had always been considered men's work.
Hmm.
And they were doing it exceptionally well.
Okay, so we've talked about women taking on these new roles
Yeah.
in the workforce,
Yeah.
the military, even espionage.
Right.
But what about the impact on family life?
Right.
I mean, with so many men away,
Yeah.
women were basically running the show back home, right?
Absolutely.
Right.
They were managing finances,
Oh, wow.
making decisions about everything,
Yeah.
from healthcare to education,
Yeah.
and raising children, often single-handedly.
Wow.
They were the backbone of the home front,
Right.
keeping families and communities together
Hmm.
during incredibly challenging times.
That must have been incredibly tough.
Oh, it was.
Can you imagine the stress of trying to hold everything together
Yeah.
while also worrying about loved ones on the front lines?
It certainly wasn't easy,
Right.
but it also fostered a sense of independence
Yeah.
and resilience
Okay.
that many women carried with them
Yeah.
for the rest of their lives.
They learned to be problem solvers, to be resourceful, to be strong in the face of adversity.
Wow.
And that had a ripple effect
Yeah.
on future generations.
You mean like their daughters
Exactly.
saw what they were capable of
Right.
and were inspired to break down even more barriers?
Precisely, those daughters grew up with a different understanding of
Right.
what was possible for women.
Yeah.
They saw their mothers taking charge, making tough decisions,
Right.
and contributing to society in meaningful ways.
Yeah.
And that paved the way
Yeah.
for future generations to demand equal rights,
Right.
better working conditions,
Mhm.
and a greater voice in all aspects of life.
So in a way, World War II was this turning point,
It was.
not just for the women who lived through it,
Right.
but for the entire trajectory of women's rights.
Exactly.
It's amazing how, even in the darkest of times,
Yeah.
profound and positive change can occur.
It's true. And it's important to remember
That this wasn't just a Western phenomenon.
Oh, right.
Women all over the world
Yeah.
were making similar contributions to the war effort,
Mhm.
often facing even greater challenges and risks.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
We often focus on the European and American theaters of war,
right?
but women in Asia, Africa, and South America
Absolutely.
were also playing critical roles.
They were.
They were nurses, factory workers, resistance fighters, and political leaders,
Yeah.
all working to shape the outcome of the war
Right.
and the future of their nations.
And while their experiences were diverse,
Yeah.
their stories often share a common thread.
Okay.
A willingness to step outside traditional boundaries
Right.
and contribute to a cause greater than themselves.
It's a reminder that courage and resilience
Mhm.
no geographical boundaries.
That's right.
These women were united
Yeah.
by their determination to make a difference,
Right.
even when the odds were stacked against them.
Right. And their stories are still relevant today.
They remind us
Yeah.
that we all have the potential to make a difference, regardless of our gender or background.
Right.
We all have the power to challenge the status quo
Yeah.
and fight for what we believe in.
So true. And speaking of incredible women
Yeah.
who defied expectations
Oh, okay.
and changed the course of history,
Uh-huh.
I think it's time to talk about Nancy Wake.
Okay.
Now, her story is truly legendary.
Ah, Nancy Wake,
No.
the White Mouse,
Good right mouth.
as the Gestapo called her.
Wow.
She was an Australian socialite
Okay.
who became one of the most decorated Allied spies
Wow.
of World War II.
Really?
Her life reads like an action-adventure novel.
Right. She started out helping refugees escape Nazi persecution
She did.
and ended up parachuting into occupied France.
Wow.
to work with the French resistance.
Yeah.
Talk about a major life shift.
She was incredibly brave and resourceful.
Okay.
Imagine operating undercover,
Wow.
coordinating resistance activities,
Wow.
even participating in sabotage missions,
Really?
all while evading capture by the Gestapo.
Wow.
She was a master of disguise,
Okay.
a brilliant strategist,
Yeah.
and a fearless leader.
It's mind-boggling to think about the risks she took
Yeah.
and the sacrifices she made.
It is.
She was a true hero,
Yeah.
embodying the spirit of resistance
Uh-huh.
that characterized so many women during the war.
Her story is a testament
Yeah.
to the extraordinary lengths individuals will go to in the face of tyranny and oppression.
Yeah.
She stands as a symbol of the courage
Huh.
that resides within us all.
Yeah.
The ability to rise above fear and fight for what we believe in,
Right.
even when the odds are stacked against us.
Nancy Wake's story, like so many others we've discussed today,
Yeah,
highlights the extraordinary contributions of women
absolutely.
during World War II.
They did.
These were women who defied expectations,
Uh-huh.
challenged norms,
Yeah.
and helped shape the course of history.
And as we delve deeper into these stories,
Yeah.
we'll uncover even more examples
Okay.
of remarkable women
Right.
who left an indelible mark on the world.
Wow.
Their bravery, resilience, and unwavering determination continue to inspire generations to come.
So stay tuned as we continue our deep dive
Okay.
into the fascinating and inspiring world
Right.
of women in World War II.
Absolutely.
There are so many more incredible stories of courage and resilience
Yeah.
waiting to be uncovered. You know, it's incredible to think that for so long, these stories were largely untold.
Right.
Almost like a whole chapter of history was missing.
Absolutely.
But thankfully, more and more of these women are finally getting the recognition they deserve.
It's true. For too long, the narrative of World War II
Yeah.
focused almost exclusively on the battles and the political leaders.
Right.
But the truth is, history is made by ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And these women are a prime example of that.
Their stories are so powerful
They are.
and so relevant to what's happening in the world today.
Yeah.
They remind us that progress is often driven
Right.
by those who dare to challenge the status quo, who refuse to accept limitations
Yeah.
placed upon them.
It's inspiring to see how their experiences during the war had such a lasting impact on the fight for gender equality.
Totally.
They proved they could handle any challenge thrown their way.
Yeah.
And they weren't about to let society forget it.
It's like the war gave them this platform
It did.
to showcase their skills, their courage,
Yeah.
their resilience.
Yeah.
And once they had that taste of what was possible,
Uh-huh.
there was no turning back.
And it wasn't just about equal rights.
Right.
Their contributions also had a significant impact
Okay.
on the way we view women's roles in society as a whole.
Uh-huh.
They shattered stereotypes and
Right.
paved the way for future generations. Yeah.
To pursue careers and opportunities
Yeah.
that were once considered off limits.
Think about all the women who are now doctors,
Right.
scientists, engineers, CEOs. It's hard to imagine those fields
Yeah.
without the groundbreaking contributions
Right.
of the women who came before them.
Exactly. And let's not forget the impact
Okay.
on the military itself.
Yeah.
Women's branches became permanent fixtures
Really?
in many countries,
Wow.
a testament to their invaluable service during the war.
It's a legacy that continues to shape the world today.
It does.
Their stories serve as a reminder
Yeah.
that we all have the power to make a difference,
Uh-huh.
regardless of our gender or background.
Right.
We all have the potential to be agents of change.
Their courage, resilience, and ingenuity are timeless qualities
Yeah.
that inspire us to embrace challenges, to fight for what we believe in,
Yeah.
and to never underestimate the power of the human spirit,
Yeah.
to overcome adversity. I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
These women may not have always worn uniforms or carried weapons,
Right.
but they were warriors in their own right.
Absolutely.
They fought for freedom,
Uh-huh.
for equality,
Yeah.
for a better future.
Yeah.
And their stories will continue to inspire
Yes.
generations to come.
Absolutely. They remind us
Yeah.
that even in the darkest of times,
Yeah.
the human spirit can shine through.
Right.
And that even the smallest acts of courage
Uh-huh.
can have a profound and lasting impact
Absolutely.
on the world.
Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey of discovery.
Today's been great.
It's been an honor to share these stories with you.
Yeah.
And to celebrate the extraordinary legacy
Absolutely.
of the women of World War II.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.